What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P here with the takeaways and reactions to the Steelers beating the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati 16-10. What a win. Here we go. We've got our 5 key takeaways. Well, number one, TJ Watt. What a time to be alive. That's my number one take. What a time to be alive. TJ Watt, 90 sacks now. He had 2 sacks in this game. Edges closer to that 100. It's just an exciting time. Watt is a game wrecker, unstoppable, and he put Jake Browning in his box. He actually got covered for other defensive issues. We'll talk about it in one of my other takes. But yeah, what a time to be alive. TJ Watt is just awesome. I was a very young man when the Blitzburg defenses were around in the 90s. I was a young man when Kevin Green was doing his thing. I've watched the highlights. I've watched some of those games back. But the reality is that we get to see this live from TJ Watt, and it's freaking incredible. I just love it. Franchise player, game wrecker, makes this team. You saw it in this game. There's a reason why they were held to 10 points despite it not being Joe Burrow, despite it still being Jake Browning, and that's because of TJ Watt. What a legend. Point number 2, Kenny Pickett in the offense are back. They're shaping up. They're sharpening up. Iron sharpens iron. They're definitely, the defense is helping them sharpen up. 400 plus yards. I've actually put that question last week to Arthur Motes and Deke on their channel. 400 yards at 25 points, which you think is more likely. And, it was interesting what they just said they'd rather take the points. But the 400 yards is huge. I honestly think with the points that they left on the board, the Steelers left at least 2 touchdowns. We obviously know the DJ one. That there's definitely, I reckon, possibly 3 to 4 touchdowns at least that should have been there. Guys and gals, this would have been 400 yards and 30 points if we'd scored 2 more touchdowns quite easily. So huge from the Steelers. Look forward to seeing what comes in weeks to come. Point number 3, Pat. Pat, that tight end, what a legend. Patty Freemuth, 9 receptions, 120 yards. I brought him into my fantasy lineup this week, and boy, did he deliver with about 18 points in fantasy. But bigger is what he delivers to the Pittsburgh Steelers. 9 receptions, 11 targets, average of 13.3. Huge from Pat Freemuth. He is going to be the ticket for Pickett when it comes to points. That is what's going to happen this season because at least he draws in the defenders. You saw throws down the center of the field to Pat Freemuth. I'm going to do a show actually in a couple of days' time on this, particularly, opportunity for Kenny Pickett. But yeah, Pat is the ticket for Pickett when it comes to points because he is going to get the defense focused in on him. That's going to free up Deontay Johnson. That's going to free up George Pickens. That's going to free up Allen Robinson, guys like Calvin Austin. Huge to get Pat back into the lineup this week and huge performance for him. Obviously, he came back in the lineup last week, but he properly was able to do everything this week. And that's what Mike Tomlin sort of said. It wasn't necessarily a fully offensive scheme change, but it was the ability to work him in. However, I believe Canada's failure to work him into that offense last week, it was also a real problem and probably a part of the no excuses from Mike Tomlin when it comes to that regard. All right, point number 4. The defense outside of the defensive line and linebackers. Now, this is going to seem harsh, particularly when you look at what the Steelers were able to do in holding the Bengals in terms of the points and the score and the yardage that they held them to, particularly when you hold them to only 197 passing, under 200, and you only hold them to 25 yards rushing. But I didn't love what I saw on the defense overall. I have to say that. I thought there were some real lapses. There was still, in fairness, the defense was also unlucky at certain points when they certainly, from the perspective of the Jamar Chase, the deflections, and he manages to get the ball, that kind of sucks. They could have been interceptions. Maybe I would have seen it differently. But I kind of felt with the amount of time of possession the Steelers had in the 37 minutes, which is huge. Again, we'll talk about that later on in the week as well with different shows. But the 37 minutes there, you would have thought they could have capitalized. They could have held the Bengals back a bit. Really, apart from the 4 sacks to Highsmith, TJ, and Herbig. Shout out to Herbig. Continues to have a great year as well. Maybe it'd have to be 6 takes from me in regards to Herbig. But it's just something uncomfortable about the defense. That's all I'm going to say. It's just something a little bit uncomfortable about it. Point number 5 is really the emphasis on the 2 RBs. 2 RBs, big play today. Now, Warren unfortunately had the fumble. Najee got 99 yards and the TD. Jalen Warren, I think it was 45 yards off the top of my head. So he had a pretty good game, 30, 40 yards. Average of 3.3. I remember that one. So, that is what it is, but that's what it's going to be. And it's just great the Steelers aren't relying on one back. And I feel like Mike Tomlin's learned his lesson a little bit on that one, on the importance of having 2 backs. And then point number 2 RBs. And the point number 6, Steel fans, the points will come. I said it earlier in this show. I said there should have been 30 points to 10. The points will come. And when we're playing Arizona, the Colts, the Patriots, then we've got Bengals again, then we go Seahawks, then we go the Ravens. The points will come for this team. This team should, I reckon you'll see from this week onwards, an average of about 23, 24 points. And if the Steelers continue to hold teams to 10, that's going to be enough, guys. That is really going to be enough. So that's what I'm excited about as this team goes down the stretch, because I do really think this team has a chance. I think we're seeing playoff caliber, no, maybe not playoff caliber football. We're seeing a team that is playing a overall game plan that can be successful in the playoffs. Because they have held teams to under 20 points now, in like over half their games this season. That is huge. And so I'm really excited for what we're seeing out of this team. So, you know what, Steel fans, you've got to be happy with that. A week of turmoil, the Steelers don't only win the game, they look a lot better on offense. Kenny Pickett leads his team to a win with 278 yards. And it fills you with confidence too. Although I mean, it fills every single Steeler fan with confidence, but certainly it should fill you with more confidence than what you were feeling last week after what we saw against the Cleveland Browns. Because, I mean, I know they didn't finish with any TDs. I'm glad he didn't finish with any interceptions. That was the biggest thing. But God, he looked a lot better. 24 for 33, 2 for 10 in terms of sacks and the yardage that they gave up. But 24 from 33, I love that. That's almost that 80% in there. So, that's pretty cool. But as always, Steelers fans, we'll have to keep supporting this team. It's 7-4. This team can keep going it. Can they go 11-6 on the season? That's my goal for them now as we go through the final 6 games. But as always, go Steelers.